Yo, it is Christmas time. And you know what that means? That's right. It's eggnog season, fruitcake season, and time to see your mother-in-law and other family members you don't want to see in the Christmas season.
It's a Festivus miracle.
Dinner's ready.
But more importantly, it is Christmas Commander time. That's right. This is the time of the year where I play my favoriteest deck in the whole world. Okay, it's not my favoriteest, but it's one of them. The Christmas Commander deck run by Mael the Anima. This is what I think to be the most Christmas-themed deck on YouTube. There's about 12 of us that have built one. I see it's not a very popular build for obvious reasons, but of the ones that built, this one is one of the cooler ones, I think, and I would still like to develop it a little bit more with the holiday promos, which I see not a lot of people are running. I guess people are trying to keep the tournament legal, which I've thrown to the wayside. In fact, this deck has been fully themed to the point where it's not a very good deck. It's not powerful. I very rarely win with it, but it's on point for theme, which is the whole point of the deck. So hopefully you enjoy this build. If you see any cards in it that you think need to go in it, let me know in the comments below. I'm still kind of working on this deck, and hopefully next year I have an even cooler Christmas deck. The heart and soul of the Christmas deck is, of course, the Happy Holiday promo cards. These are silver border cards released by Wizards of the Coast annually since I think about 2006. They gave them out to staff as well as partners, and they give them out to influencers as well now. So the newer ones are a little bit more common to come by and a little bit cheaper, but the old ones can cost hundreds of dollars. I don't really have many old ones. I just have one, the Snow Mercy, but I have 6 of them in the deck. I do plan on getting more, but they are kind of hard to get and kind of expensive. So the first one we have here is Goblin Sleigh Ride. This is the 2015 holiday promo, and it's a sorcery that targets creature you control. It climbs onto Goblin Sleigh Ride, and you slide them on their merry way. If the creature stayed on, it deals damage equal to its toughness to each other creature touched during the slide. So you would play your Goblin Sleigh Ride, and you would mount the creature that you want to go on the ride, and you slide it into an opposing creature. If it stays on, in that case, that was kind of a bad push, but yeah, in that case, it stayed on, so it would deal its toughness, the creature's toughness to the creature you hit. And if you hit multiple, if you can slide into like 3 without falling off, then you can actually do damage to all 3. But I usually just go for 1. So that's Goblin Sleigh Ride, good removal spell. Top Deck the Halls. This is a 5-mana enchantment. 2020, this is the 2020 holiday promo. Decorated cards in your hand have Miracle 1. This is absolutely broken because every card in the deck is pretty much decorated because I want to get those swing condition off. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 12 or more decorated permanents, you win the game. And decorated cards include premiums, promos, and cards with alternate frames or art. So it's quite easy to get at least a decorated variant of pretty much any card. And yeah, so that's pretty much the only win condition of the deck, and probably one of the only good silver borders they made. The rest are kind of worse versions of their parody card. And this is a parody of Dream Halls. I don't know if this is actually a parody. I think this is just its own, but most of them are parodies. This is a parody Chaos Wrap. It's a parody of Chaos Warp, and it's an instant. It's the 2022 promo, and the owner of target permanent shuffles it into their library, and then they look at the top card of their library and they may wrap it. If it's a permanent card, they put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, they put it onto the battlefield face down as a 4/4 red present creature. To wrap a card, put it inside lots of sleeves. If it would be dealt damage or destroyed, remove a sleeve from it instead. So you can generally get about 3 sleeves on a card. This is obviously worse than Chaos Warp because if they hit, a non-permanent, they'll still get to wrap it as a present and get a 4/4 creature out of it. This is a cool card. This is a split card, naughty or nice. It's the naughty half is Praetor's Grasp, pretty much. Search another target player's library for a card and put that card into your hand, then shuffle that player's library. I have very few ways to get into black mana, as Mael is my commander. I shouldn't even be running this, but hey, it's a Christmas special card, and I really need it to get into nice. Search your library for a card and put it into another player's target or their hand, then shuffle your library. So this card is integral for one of my Christmas combos, which is basically playing nice, searching my library for Stalking Tiger, and putting this into their hand. So this is another promo. This is from, what is this? 2013. Stalking Tiger enters the battlefield with a sealed magic booster pack under it. When Stalking Tiger deals combat damage to a player, unwrap the booster pack and put it into your hand. So this is a way in December where I can play this, give them Stalking Tiger, and if they can play it in the pod, and I'll give them a pack under it, and if they can hit somebody with it, they get that pack. So I really needed Naughty or Nice for that. And so I was actually able to find that local. A local collector had it. Like I ask local collectors sometimes, do you have any holiday promos? They always say no. It's very rare. One time, a guy actually had one. He had this one. Snow Mercy. This is a parody of No Mercy, and it is a snow enchantment. Whenever a creature deals damage to you, put a globe counter on it. Tap, untap, tap, untap, tap. Tap all creatures with globe counters on them. And it's got a really cool picture of this snow globe. So this one's from 2010. It's an older one. No, what is it? 2010? Yeah, 2010. And yeah, so if it's unlike No Mercy, when they hit you, the creature's actually destroyed. In this case, they get the creature, they get a globe counter on it, and during their upkeep, when they untap, you can tap, untap, tap, untap, tap, basically shake up your snow globe to tap all the creatures that have snow globes on them. It's not as good as No Mercy, obviously, because those creatures are still alive and they can still use their abilities. If they have like a activated tap ability, you can at least use No Mercy in response to them using the tap effect so they don't get the tap effect, but it's in there for the cool factor. And again, when it came to building this deck, I sacrificed everything power-wise in preference for flavor. So if I can get cool cards in there that are in flavor, that's great. But that's the holiday promos for the deck. I do want to get more, namely Fruitcake Elemental, but it's like $300. But hopefully next year I'll have an even cooler holiday special deck. Creatures make up a staggering portion of the deck because they were the easiest ones to theme. And I put in elks. Originally, I just had 9 elks. Well, reindeer. They were simulating the reindeer. But I've added a couple more in since then. And it's angels, elves, and other things that are Christmas related. So let's start with Great Sable Stag. It is a elk. It's a 3/3 for 3 mana. It can't be countered, and it's got protection from blue and black. Ginger Brute. It could not be a Christmas deck without the gingerbread man. It's a 1/1 for 1 mana with haste. It can't be blocked this turn except by creatures with haste if you pay 1 into it. And you can also eat it like a regular food. Sacrifice it, you gain 3 life. Maria, Scholar of Antiquity, is a legendary elf that untaps non-token artifact you control to add a green. And tap 2 untapped non-token artifacts you control. Exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn. So it's fairly useful. 3 mana for 3/3 is already pretty good, and being able to turn non-artifacts or artifacts, non-token artifacts into mana dorks is great. Savella Ice Shaper. This has a really cool ability. So it's a 3 mana for a 2/4. It's got 3 tap, create a colorless snow artifact named Icy Maneth with tap, add 1 mana of any color. I should probably get that token, but I don't really use it for that ability. I do, however, use the 8 mana ability. 8 and tap, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may cast a spell from among them without paying its mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I don't really play any crazy big spells, but it's still cool being able to search for 4 and playing 1 for free. Sometimes you hit something cool. Golden Hind, mana dork. It's a 2 mana 2/1 elk. Llanowar Elves. Of course, we've got to have the elves there. Santa's elves are here creating mana. Highland Game. This one's got really nice snow art too. Elk. When Highland Game dies, you gain 2 life. It's a 2 mana 2/1. These cards suck. I mean, these aren't great creatures, but and here we've got Enduring Vitality, really cool Japanese version. So this one's an enchantment. When it comes out, it turns all of your creatures into mana dorks. And when it dies, it comes back on the field as an enchantment. So it's pretty cool. And I believe they tap for mana of any color. I don't see a mana symbol. Burnished Heart. This was awesome. Like, what a beautiful Christmas-themed card. We've got this beautiful, like, elk in the background, or a reindeer kind of, and these, like, Christmas trees. They almost look like decorated Christmas trees. 3 mana, sacrifice Burnished Heart, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards and put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Star-Crowned Stag. Whenever Star-Crowned Stag attacks, tap target creature defending player controls. Somberwald Stag. This is actually one of the good elks. When I get this one out, I'm kind of happy. When Somberwald Stag enters the battlefield, you may have it fight target creature you don't control. So it's a 4/3, so you can usually find a pretty good removal target. Tough Cookie. We got 2 mana for a 2/2. When Tough Cookie enters the battlefield, create a food token. For 3 mana, target non-creature artifact you control becomes a 4/4 artifact creature until end of turn. You can also eat the cookie as well for 2 mana, just like any other food. Jorn, God of Winter, is the Santa Claus of the deck, and I know he's also not legal for the deck, but hey, I needed a Santa Claus for the deck. He's a legendary snow creature, And whenever Jorn attacks, untap each snow permanent you control. So he's very, very good for this deck because everything is snow permanents. And he's kind of the representation of Santa in the deck. Spirit of Aldergard is a snow creature bear spirit. When Spirit of the Aldergard enters the battlefield, search your library for a snow land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. And it doesn't have to be a basic, so you can get one of the snow duels. Spirit of the Aldergard gets +1/+0 for each other snow permanent you control, which is usually quite a bit, especially if you've got the 4 mana to pay for this. Trickster's Elk. It's Bestow. Enchant creature loses all abilities as a green elk creature with base power and toughness 3/3. So it's pretty much a removal spell, but you can play it as an elk if you're desperate for creatures. Mirkwood Elk is another good one, actually. It's a 6 mana, 6/6, so it's something I can actually hit off of my elk. It's got Trample, and whenever Mirkwood Elk enters the battlefield or attacks, return target elf card from your graveyard to your hand. You gain life equal to that card's power. So there's a few elves in the deck, and it can return them to your hand. So a golden goose, or a gilded goose, but Christmas wouldn't be complete without the golden goose. It's flying. When Gilded Goose enters the battlefield, create a food token. And all these food tokens that I'm generating are quite important because I need them on the field as the foil tokens so I can get into the top deck the Mercy, or top deck the Hall's win condition. So all these food tokens are just giving me free permanents that are getting me closer to the 12 permanents. I don't have any tutors in the deck to search for top deck the Halls, though, so it's very inconsistent that I get it. But actually, I do have, now that I think about it, I do have Glory, or whatever. I do have a 1 tutor. Rhyme for Reindeer. This is the only one I think that actually is named a reindeer. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, tap target creature an opponent controls. There's not a lot of enchantments in here, but it's in here. Because it's a reindeer. Elvish Mystic, another, mana dork elf. Sculptor of Winter, untap target snowland, and it's a 2 mana 2/2, so it's pretty good stats and pretty useful. Probably one of the better elks in the deck, Beza the Bounding Spring, and it's got just a beautiful artwork. It took me forever to find a full art version of this card. When Beza the Bounding Spring enters, create a treasure token. If an opponent controls more lands than you, you gain 4 life. If an opponent has more life than you, create 2 1/1 blue fish creature tokens if an opponent controls more creatures than you, and you draw a card if an opponent has more cards in hand than you. And considering you're generally playing with 3 other opponents, it'll usually find a few of these as targets. And stats-wise, it's a 4/5, so it's already pretty good too. We got Bellowing Elk, 4 mana, 4/2. As long as you've had another creature enter the battlefield under your control this turn, it has Trample and Indestructible. Galewind Moose. This is another kind of beefy one. Flash, and it's got Vigilance, Reach, and Trample. 6/6 for 6 mana. So pretty good stats as far as the elk in this deck go. Saddled Rhymestag. Really nice artwork. Super on point for Christmas deck. We've got Saddled Rhymestag, 2 mana for a 2/2, and it gets +2/+2 as long as you've had another creature enter the battlefield under your control this turn. Sire Ginger the Meal Ender. We've got another gingerbread. Sire Ginger the Meal Ender has Trample, Hexproof, and Haste as long as an opponent controls a Planeswalker, which I never really get that. Whenever another artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on Sire Ginger and scry 1. So anytime you eat one of your foods, basically. And you can also eat Sire Ginger. All these gingerbread guys, you can eat them too. Love this card, super on theme. The Goblin Snowman is a 4 mana 1/1, but whenever Goblin Snowman blocks, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to and by it this turn. So it basically is a body shield here. And Goblin Snowman, you can also tap it to ping 1 damage to target creature it's blocking. So I guess assign it as a blocker and then ping for 1. It's normally just a blocker though, but if you can block something that has a toughness of 1, that's a bonus. Boreal Outriders, 3 mana 3/2. Whenever you cast a creature spell, if snow was any of that spell's colors, it was horribly butchered, but if snow was any of that spell's colors was spent to cast it, that creature enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it. So pretty much if you have this out, when you cast a creature, it'll come out with an additional 1/1 because you're always paying snow mana. Dawnglade Regent is the beefiest of all the elks. It is a 7 mana, 8/8. When Dawnglade Regent enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. As long as you're the monarch, permanents you control have hexproof. We've got Hans Eriksson, which I know is a great Santa facsimile as well, but Jorn was just better for me. But I still ran Hans Eriksson as well because it's super Christmassy. Whenever Hans Eriksson attacks, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, put it onto the battlefield tapped and attacking, defending player or planeswalker they control. Otherwise, put that card into your hand. When you put a creature card into your battlefield this way, it fights Hans Eriksson. So he can kill himself quite easily, but you can get some free spells that way. And if it's big enough to kill Hans Eriksson, it's probably better on the field than Hans Eriksson. Dawn Treader Elk. For 2 mana, 2/2, you can sacrifice it for a green to search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. This is my favorite creature in the deck, my Achroma Angel of Wrath. So for 8 mana, it's a flying, first strike, trample, haste, protection from black, protection from red, and attacking does not cause it to tap. So it's got vigilance, and it's a 6/6. So it's quite beefy, and it's easily the best target to hit with my L. Whenever I use my L, when I'm desperate, this is always what I want to hit. And yeah, I've had this card for a very long time. I bought this card for about $25, like, I want to say 15 or 18 years ago, and I've just had it. And so when I was building this deck again, I'm like, yeah, you've got to have the angels in the deck. So there's some representation there for that. I think that was the only angel I put in the deck. Rime Tender is a snow creature, human druid. It's a 2 mana 2/2, untap another target snow permanent. So it could be anything, like I guess even your Snow Mercy. Not like you would want to untap it if you already tapped it. So that's the creatures for the deck. That makes up the bulk of it. We don't have that many sorceries in instance, so I'll do them together. We've got Into the North. For 2 mana, it's a sorcery that searches your library for a snowland card, put it into the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle your library. And it can be one of the snow duels, which is useful. This is like the only search card in my deck. Search your library for a snow permanent card, a legendary card, or a saga card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Then shuffle your library. You gain 1 life for each snow to cast this spell. So unfortunately, my top deck, the Halls, isn't a snow permanent. It's just an enchantment, so I can't search it out with Search for Glory. But you can still get some other cool stuff out with it. Return from the Wilds, just there to give some more mana. Gives you a food, which I need the foods for the win condition, and it can either create a 1/1 white human, or you can search your library for a basic land card, put it into the battlefield tapped and shuffle. And I'm always just getting a food and searching my library for land. Cultivate, the Bring a Friend promo, 3 mana, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal them, put 1 into the battlefield tapped and the other into your hand, then shuffle. Blizzard Brawl, awesome cool fight card. It's a 1 mana. Choose target creature you control and target creature you don't control. If you control 3 or more snow permanents, the creature you control gets +1/+0 and gains indestructible until the end of turn. Then each of those creatures fight each other. So I'm always getting the indestructible before the fight because it's a snow deck. Blessing of Frost. For 4 mana, we've got a snow sorcery that distributes X number of 1/1 counters among any number of creatures you control, where X is the amount of snow spent to cast the spell. Then draw a card for each other creature you control with power 4 or greater. So you're generally distributing them to bring up as many things to 4 as you can, and you're getting usually 4 because you're paying snow mana for everything. Rampant Growth, non-foil. I gotta replace this card eventually, but it's there for ramping up. Defiant Strike's another card that doesn't really belong in the deck. It's just there right now as a kind of a placeholder. It's 1 mana. Target creature gets +1/+0 until the end of turn and draw a card. Oh, I think I put this in because I can target opponent's creature and give it +1/+0 until the end of turn and then still get a card off of it. Broken Wings, I should probably get a better removals too. I can tell by the fact this isn't foiled that this is a placeholder too. 3 mana. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. Generous Gift, though, is definitely in there for a reason, because we got to be generous with our gifting at the holiday season. It's a 3 mana, destroy target permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 green elephant creature token. And who's not going to be happy about getting a 3/3 green elephant creature token? Frostbite, awesome removal spell. Frostbite deals 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker, so it's a shock. But if you control 3 or more snow permanents, it deals 3 damage instead. Basically a lightning bolt. Well, not basically, definitely a lightning bolt. On to the snow enchantments. We've got On Thin Ice. Love this removal spell. It's 1 mana. Snow enchantment. Enchant snow land you control. When On Thin Ice enters the battlefield, exile target creature an opponent controls until On Thin Ice leaves the battlefield. So you're basically putting one of their creatures on this little desolate ice floating out in the ocean. Custody Battle. This card is hilarious. It's a 2 mana enchant creature, and I mean, what Christmas season would be complete without a custody battle? We've got enchanted creature has, at the beginning of your upkeep, target opponent gains control of this creature unless you sacrifice a land. So you put this on one of their commanders, not one of their commanders, but you put this on a commander, and that player is now forced with sacrificing a land every turn to keep their commander or giving up their commander. Silk Wrap. When Silk Wrap enters the battlefield, exile target creature with converted mana cost of 3 or less an opponent controls until Silk Wrap leaves the battlefield. So if you want to wrap up something really quick on the battlefield, this is the best way to do it. Trap it in a present. We've got Cover of Winter, 3 mana snow enchantment. It's got commutative upkeep 1, and if a creature would deal combat damage to you and or one or more creatures you control, prevent X of that damage, where X is the number of age counters on Cover of Winter. And you can pay snow to put an age counter on it. So what this is going to do is if you have 3 age counters on it and they attack you with a bunch of creatures, it's going to prevent at least 3 from all of them. So if they have something that's got 4 or 5, it will get through, but all their 3s or less won't. Glittering Frost is 3 mana enchant land. Enchant land is snow. And whenever enchant land is tapped for mana, its controller adds an additional 1 mana of any color, which would of course also be snow. So this is a good way of turning things like Command Tower and things that I have that aren't snowlands, which there's only very few, into snowlands. Angelic Gift. This is another way to gift something to an opponent. Enchant creature. When enchant creature or Angelic Gift enters the battlefield, draw a card. Enchant creature has flying. So I can give an opponent's creature flying and still get a card back out of it. Gelid Shackles. I love this card. It's a 1 mana snow enchantment. It enchants a creature, and the enchanted creature can't block, and its activated abilities can't be played. And as a bonus, you can also pay 1 at any time to give it Defender until the end of turn. So it's pretty useful. It's not, some of the removal in here isn't necessarily removal, but it's still going to deal with problems sometimes. Now on to the artifacts. We've got Arkham's Astrolabe. This is a mana rock. It's a snow artifact. When Arkham's Astrolabe enters the battlefield, draw a card, and you have to pay snow to get into this, as you can see by its mana pit. And it can, you pay 1 into it, and it taps 1 mana of any color. So you can basically do snow mana fixing with this, because you're not getting +1 off it. You have to pay 1 to get 1 out, but it'll turn it into a snowland at least. The One Ring is, you got the golden rings of Christmas, so of course I had to include this. Everybody knows what the One Ring does, but if you don't, it's an indestructible artifact that at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 for each burden counter on the One Ring, and you can tap to put a burden counter on the One Ring and draw a card for each burden counter on the One Ring. It also gives you protection for everything the turn you play it. Arcane Signet. It'd be nice to have a more Christmas-themed one, but for now I've got this one in here. It taps to add a mana of any color in your commander's identity. Cold Steel Heart. For 2 mana, we've got another snow mana rock. It comes into play tapped, and as it comes into play, choose a color. I often choose red because I have the least amount of red in the deck. Tap, add 1 mana of the chosen color to your mana pool. So it becomes a snow mana generator of any color of your choice. Well, but it has to stay that color. Whisper Silk Cloak was just a cool foil card I had, so I put it in, but it's not integral to the deck, and it'll probably get replaced eventually. It's a 3 mana equipment that makes equipped creature unblockable, which I don't really need anything in the deck to have unblockable. So, and it also gives it Shroud. Now we've got Soul Ring staple. Got to include the Soul Ring. Command Sphere, good mana fixer, good rock. And Replicating Ring, which I've never actually pulled this off. If I had Proliferate, maybe. It taps to add 1 mana of any color. And at the beginning of your upkeep, put a night counter on Replicating Ring. Then if it has 8 or more night counters on it, remove all of them and create 8 colorless snow artifact tokens named Replicating Ring with tap. Add 1 mana of any color. So if you can somehow get the 8 on there, which I've never had this out for 8 turns to do it naturally, but if you get them out, you can get 8 mana rocks out of this, which is pretty crazy. The lands are, of course, pretty much all snow lands. We've got a bunch of snow forests, a lot of basics. I run a lot of basics in my deck. How many is this? 5 snow-covered mountains, some snow-covered plains, and then we'll get to utilities here. Okay, so these are, I pretty much put every snow dual in, which of course they come into the battlefield tap. So we've got Alpine Meadow, Highland Weld, Terramorphic Expanse, of course, there to just do fixing, Arctic Flats, Command Tower. I don't have a foil of this yet. I've definitely got to get a foil. I think it's one of my only non-foil lands in the deck. It is. So I got to get this foil eventually. Arctic Tree Line. Gingerbread Cabin. This one's so cool. Gingerbread Cabin enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more other forests. And when it enters the battlefield untapped, you can create a food token. Evolving Wilds. Mishra's Factory is pretty much in here because I found it in a jank bin at my LGS, and it's kind of a placeholder for Mishra's Toy Factory, which I'll probably eventually put in. And then Shimmerdrift Veil. It enters the battlefield tapped, and as Shimmerdrift Veil enters the battlefield, choose a color. Add 1 mana of the chosen color. So a nice fixer, but it comes into play tapped, but small price to pay. From everyone from the Magic Den, I want to say Merry Christmas and thank you very much for watching the channel. If you've stuck through already with us in our very early stages, we can't thank you enough. We do plan on getting some better equipment next year and bringing up the streams a little bit to a higher standard and maybe getting more edited videos on, more deck techs, and maybe some skits. We're planning some skits. And we're still working closely with the Hobby Den too. So if you haven't checked out that channel, we do some Pokemon and just anything that's not Magic related on that channel. So go check them out. Well, them as in some of us that are also working on that channel too. But yeah, thank you very much for watching us. And we look forward to a really awesome 2026 with some great competitions. And we'll see you there.